You never know where J.D. Vance is going to turn up next.
Right?
Damien from The Omen. Okay.
Check his scalp for a birthmark.
6s.
You know, he may as well go around now in a big cloak with a scythe.
Rudeness, to your point of what Senator Van Hollen just said in the tweet I just read, your piece is how do some Democrats not get that due process is the fight. And again, I think your point, too, is that we can walk and chew gum. Yes, the economy, tariffs, all that's right, obviously having its effect, but you also have got to, by the way, polling shows that he is now underwater on his apparently top issue, which is deportations and immigration. So people do get it, Rude. You're right. People understand people being disappeared with no due process, right?
They get that, and on deportations and immigration. Remember, everybody thought, all these voters, you know, that whenever they went on those Cletus safaris, reporters would hear from people saying, "Oh no, they're not going to. They're only going to go after the criminals. They're only going to go after the bad ones. They're not going to go after the ones that are, you know, are making a life here." And it's like, no, that's not what he said.
Yeah,
that's the fantasy you're conjuring about this horrific thing that he's about to do, and now that he's doing it, people are like, "Oh, wait,
right?
That's not what I thought he was going to do."
My favorite line in your piece is, "Man, if a meatloaf like Joe Rogan understands how effed up it is, everyone gets it." He is a meatloaf. Yeah. He's just a human meatloaf.
Sure.
Yeah,
he is. You look at him and you go, you know, that's somebody that, you know, is just all he is just a solid slab of dumb meat with a little spice.
They're like, someone used too many breadcrumbs. Something too much filler.
Too much hamburger helper.
Yeah, something. No, I
never made meatloaf, Chris.
I've never made it. I've had it.
I just like him saying hamburger helper. It's like no, hamburger helper. You got to saute it. It's
All right, let's move on.
You got to brown the vermicelli. Sorry.
So I had not seen this, but you were talking about Amy Klobuchar in one of the Sunday shows saying, while saying what happened to Garcia is effed up, said they're doing it because they want to distract people from the fact our economy's in a tailspin. She said they're following the law in other cases. They just decided not to follow the law with this guy. And you said she's completely effing wrong. They're not following the law in other cases, and it's very much not this guy. Every single man who was sent to El Salvador was denied due process for removal. In fact, it was not only so much not just one guy that the Supreme Court stepped in to say, whoa, mother effers, you can't send another plane load of people to another country without giving them their day in court. So I don't know what she was talking about, because that's the whole point. Shut this whole thing down. It's not just the one guy.
Right, and that's the thing, and that was weird with Klobuchar. It really is like there is this contingent of centrist Democrats that are just sitting there. They're like so, you know, gut level afraid that it might turn out that Abrego Garcia is actually some criminal mastermind and has been hiding it all this time by portraying a mild mannered sheet metal.
Like it's a trap, and where the Democrats are going to fall. I think also, Rude, it's this thing that irritates the bejesus out of me that I think they've been over lectured about. Democrats can't talk down to people, and they got to talk about the price of eggs and the economy, and that's all people care about. And, you know, it's like, no, we can care about due process as well. I mean,
right.
You said there's a strain of Democrats so devoted to making the battle over tariffs the main thrust of attack on Trump's and Republicans, they actually seem to believe the White House cannily created this situation with the alleged criminals and terrorists they rounded up and shipped them off to a hellhole to intentionally distract from the tariff madness. Mm-hmm. They can't see what really happened is that Trump bumble-effed his way into a situation where his deluded cabal of moronic goons and dim, drooling racists stepped on their own D's repeatedly, the legal bed, and now they're trying to hide that they bruised their D's themselves. They did bruise their own D's. You're correct.
They bruised legally, them repeatedly. Yeah. But I mean, you know, that's the thing is like the thing about the tariff thing is it's hard to understand the tariff thing, and people won't understand it until they see a real hike in prices, which is coming. Yeah. That is going to happen. We're a little bit out from that. We're just starting to see the effects of it. But right now, it is so easy to comprehend what has happened with Abrego Garcia and with everybody that was denied their due process.
And by the way, the people that are resonating with the base are the people that are fighting the hardest. You know, AOC and Bernie and Tim Walz and people that are. So you mentioned also Gavin Newsom, who again, we liked you when you were fighting for gay rights and fighting against Trump on Fox News, not when you were throwing trans people under the bus and buddying up to Steve Bannon on your podcast. So you said, no, Governor Newsom, it's not the distraction of the day. It's not a mistake to focus on Democratic opposition on border and immigration. I get it that they think, oh, this is where Democrats are weak on the border and immigration, so let's drag them into this fight. And as you said, the party needs to unite around leaders like Van Hollen, who went to El Salvador, met with Garcia, came back and told every effing network, including Fox, that we're supposed to guarantee constitutional rights, not strip them away at the whim of some mad king. And for measure, Van Hollen de-punched Gavin Newsom by saying, I think Americans are tired of elected officials or politicians who are finger to the wind. Anybody who can't stand up for the Constitution and the right of due process doesn't deserve to lead. And I agree. That's why the people I mentioned are the ones raising boatloads of money. Jasmine Crockett, right? I mean, it's that's the thing is like when people see leaders standing up, they want to be part of it. I mean, come on, Harvard standing up to the Trump administration is now seeing a ton of donations. People maxing out what they can give to Harvard, or maxing out according to their own budget. Right. Sorry. How about speaking of cluster Fs? How about the latest? We started a war with Harvard by mistake. I mean, every single story, from Signal to this deportations, it's just a cluster F of incompetence, cruelty. So the Harvard thing, wait. They're trying to say they sent the letter by mistake to Harvard?
Yep. Well, and now they're saying, they're saying, well, it was actually supposed to be a confidential letter. And because Harvard let everyone know what the letter is, we're going to take another $1 billion away from Harvard. And it's like, I really think there are laws that are supposed to prevent this kind of just blatantly punishing someone for their speech. I think that we're supposed to have not just the First Amendment, but actual laws that say the government can't go around randomly punishing people.
Right. And by the way, the law firms that bent the knee, now what he's going to do is force them to defend him in his rape conviction against E. Jean Carroll. Right?
Yeah.
He's going to make taxpayers. It's just okay. But this is what happens. The bully's always going to, come back and ask for more, right?
Well, and that they're actually looking at the IRS going after political opponents and people and groups that support causes that he doesn't. They're looking to take away the tax exempt status of every climate change organization, every organization that is trying to mitigate the effects of climate change, because that's how deeply they need to be devoted to every lie they tell.
Yeah,
it's astonishing that we are essentially living in they're trying to make us all live in whatever weird fantasy not just Trump but all of the a-holes around him have created.
Yeah. By the way, the D-ishness of Alito can never be underestimated.
Right.
I mentioned it in the beginning, Rude, but Alito issues his dissent complaining shortly after midnight. The court hastily and prematurely granted unprecedented emergency relief. You said most of Alito's complaints are about paperwork and say nothing about the lives of real people that could have been devastated by the government's actions. GD, he and Thomas really just hate humanity. I mean, it is disgusting what they will vote for, those two.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you're sitting there going, again, especially with Clarence Thomas, especially with the history of mistreatment by the justice system of African Americans. And you're sitting there going, dude, do you understand any of this? I mean, Thomas has just been on a 40-year revenge spree at this point. And Alito is just completely inundated with right-wing propaganda.
Yeah, they are. They're like Fox talking points. They're not even justices at this point. You said with an order this clear, the Supreme Court is possibly showing it no longer trusts Trump, with resident sadist Thomas and Alito demonstrating they will always be hateful bastards. You also said the open, arrogant defiance of the Supreme Court in order to send people to a concentration camp is quite possibly the most un-American thing I've ever seen. And you're right, Rude. People do get it. This is one of those things that's easy to understand.
And poll after poll shows that. I mean, polls show that vast majorities of Republicans agree with the idea that if the Supreme Court says something, the president has to follow it. And when it comes to legal immigrants, people with green cards and visas, it's a massive amount of Americans, including 2/3 of Republicans, say they deserve due process. Yeah. They deserve their day in court. They deserve to be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, the Trump administration is doing things that are just patently un-American and trying to change the country.
You tweeted the line from the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals decision telling Trump to bring Abrego Garcia the F home is adorable in its optimism. Quote, "We yet cling to the hope that it's not naive to believe our good brethren in the executive branch perceive the rule of law as vital to the American ethos." Aww. So many sweet summer children.
I know.
That is adorable.
Judge Wilkinson. That's just so cute.
That could be from Legally Blonde. That is so.
Yeah. I mean, that's almost like Jimmy Stewart on the floor of the Senate. It's like everybody here, somebody believes in the rule of law. I know you do, and it's like, no, they really don't.
You said, by the way, the Ukraine. You said, in other words, Trump does nothing, gives Putin a free hand in Europe, sacrificing Ukraine. Here we go again, right? I'm going to solve this in a day, and here, and we're exactly where we knew we were going to be. Him just handing Ukraine to Putin, basically.
Yeah, and criticizing the EU for giving more aid to keep the war going. It's like. Can we just get to the part where you just hand the keys of the country to Putin? Can we get to that part already?
Here's my favorite Blue Sky viewers. You said, "God, there's such yappy bitches in the White House." Take the L with some dignity and stop acting like mean old Harvard should be nicer to you. They really are. They're just the whiniest little bitches ever.
They are. It's just they're just sitting there going, "Oh yeah, well Harvard is arrogantly doing this," and it's like, you were trying to tell them what to teach. You were trying to tell Harvard what they can teach and what they can research. Just know when you're in over your head. Harvard could just say, "You know what? Go F yourselves. We're in Canada now. We're now Canada Harvard."
Could you take your organ back out for us? Thank you. Just some final thoughts on the Pope's final bitch slap, which I guess he did meet with J.D. Vance for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, he did.
But he was official. He was going to skip the meeting and instead have his number 2 give Vance a lecture on compassion, according to a Vatican statement. And you just said, laughing at this pathetic being treated like everywhere he goes is one of the few pleasures in this dark time.
Oh yeah,
the Pope's final bitch slap, and then obviously the Pope, in his empathy, decided to meet with J.D. Vance anyway, and that's what killed him. Right. And there you go. Yeah.
Probably looked at him and went, "Wait, this MFer converted?
No good deed goes unpunished."
This guy chose our religion. Man, we are so effed. That's it. I'm done.
You also, your final tweet on Easter. Today, the Oklahoma House passed H.C.R. 1013, declaring Christ as king. This isn't a harmless symbolism. It's a blatant violation of church-state separation, a dangerous step toward Christian nationalism. Our government serves us all, not just the Christians. And you said, well, okay, he's going to have to wrestle with the ripped, big lizard god that I worship, who see who gets the crown. And let me just say, fighting makes Lizardo horny. Is that your god, Lizardo? It's a giant
Lizardo.
Lizard?
And Lizardo, he will definitely bone someone after defeating them. So you know what? If he gets into a fight with Jesus,
If he's
still
big and ripped, I volunteer.
I thought you were still with the flying spaghetti monster. No?
And he's Lizardo. He's uncut. So
All right. I did not know you had switched deities.
In the lizard god world.
He worships a big lizard called Lizardo.
Yeah, just big, ripped. I mean, just
like
ready.
Godzilla, sort of, but better hung.
No, a little softer than Godzilla. Godzilla's all spiky. Lizardo has his tender side too.
You're making him sound real hot.
I mean, he can go with both tail and
like
front.
your friend Stigmata. Like your friend Stigmata Cookies, this segment was sacrilegious.
Sacrilegious.
Okay, yes. Love you.
Yes.
Goodbye. You're going straight to hell. You got to go now. Ooh, you're.
Oh, well, I will say the other thing I said about the Pope's death is, he could do something really hilarious in 3 days.
Oh.
Hey, John Fugelsang here. You guys know what's happening to the country, and corporate media is not helping. But when the White House Correspondents' Dinner fires comedians, it's time we take back the mic and brutally mock them in the process. Join me and the Political Voices Network for Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner pay-per-view special on Saturday, April 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Not just another comedy show, it's a no-holds-barred takedown of media hypocrisy, political BS, and sanitized news with over a dozen fearless comics and influencers bringing truth with punchlines, including Hal Sparks, Alonzo Bowden, Trey Crowder, a.k.a. the liberal redneck, Glenn Kirschner, Allison Gill, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, Dino Badala, JoJo from Jerz, TV's Frank Conniff, and many more with special guest Miss Elaine Boozler. Catch the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner live on April 26th instead of that other thing, or stream it on demand for 2026, because that's a good number to think about. Go to www.meethook.live/not and get your ticket, because when they silence comedians, we get louder.